I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Honey, 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 honey. They said I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Run it, run it, run it, run it. They said I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Run it, run it, run it, run it. Honey, 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 honey. They be talking, they be saying, they be lying, lying, lying. God got me, they be hating, stop your crying, crying, crying. They get it, I'm with it, won't quit, it's mine, mine, mine. We don't flex with money phones, we got honeycombs. Saucing like the beehive, I get my Carter on. Ball hoes want beef, I get my slaughter on. Y'all boys wanna cheat, I get my smarter on. The devil think is defeat, I get my father on him. Per game, he's a name away, a lamp to my feet, and it's like them blazed away. No cave today, my head raised high to the sky. No lie, his reply, I'm seeing secrets like I'm a spy. You like it or not? Said I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Per game, honey, 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 honey. They said I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Per game, run it, run it, run it, run it. They said I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Per game, run it, run it, run it, run it. Honey, 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 honey. Feel me like a beating's over, popping like a case of soda, clean like I'm baking soda, love them like the hating's over, drunk with hatred, love them sober.
They drunk with hatred, love them sober.
He made me in his image, so you know I gotta live it. The devil try to stop me cause he know I'm on a mission. I'm anointed by the Holy One, but he out of fitness. Wanna rock with the Holy Son, sounding like he said it's finished. Wanna trust him, cause he's the one that saved me from their lies. Wanna trust him, cause he's the one that gave me strength when I'm tired. Wanna trust him, cause he's the one that keep his word or dies. Wanna trust him, cause he's the one that made drink on the bird. They said I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Honey, 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 honey. They said I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Run it, run it, run it, run it. They said I wasn't gonna be none, it's all love though. Run it, run it, run it, run it. Honey, 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 honey. I got the haters looking like a wagon. Per game, per game. Per game, per game. Per game, per game. Run it, run it, run it, run it. Per game, per game. Honey, 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 honey.
Wow, wow. Hey, welcome to the session, Bible Beats and Bars. I'm your host, Minister Fred 2. Don't call me Junior, you all know the business. And again, we want to say thank you for taking time to tune in. All right, let me get a little comfortable here. Listen, before we get in, this is the finale, I believe, on our series, and I am excited to bring in Dr. Michael A. Cross. But before I do want to just make sure I give you a rundown of how this thing works from Wednesday throughout the weekend, all the way to the following Monday. So on Fridays, every Friday, you can catch the No More Dirty TV show. And listen, the key is to make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. That is No More Dirty, INC, as abbreviation for Incorporated. And you can get a chance to see all of our video content, all of our great opportunities and things that you can find and grow and be a better you and your family. And then, so that's every Friday evening, 7:30 Central Standard Time. On the East Coast, go up 1 hour. On the West Coast, go back 2. And somewhere in the middle, if you're Arizona or either New Mexico, then you just go back 1 hour. And then after on Fridays, and then you can always catch it again, our replay on Wednesday, we have here, like we do every weekend Saturdays, it is the session, Bible Beats and Bars. And that's where faith meets community and community meets hip hop or urban and culture, postmodern life. So that's, and shout out to my man, you already know, DJ Scissorhands. He's on the ones and twos, make sure our music is right from week to week. Want to say a big shout out to him. He has his show after, and that's every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on G93 Radio. Now, the best way to get to that is either you can go to your Google app or your iOS and then just drop in capital G 93 radio. It'll pull up hip hop and classic R&B, right? And then you click on it, go to the site, and you'll hear DJ Scissorhand Radio. And then also, you can also check it out on live365.com. That's Saturday night, every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Then also, you can go back Sunday. You already know Sunday at 5 p.m. We'll be on G93. That's the whole squad. No More Dirty radio show. Listen, I mean, everybody's on that one. That's Coach Joe, Life Lessons, myself, yours truly, the host. We also have DJ Sam Smite and DJ Citizen. So you get two mixes every week. You get some real creative one way or the other. Then you got Marcus Sims Media. And also we have a featured guest and we have great artists and interviews. So that's every Sunday, 9:30 Central Standard Time on G93 Radio. And then at 6 p.m., we're on our sister station as we've been on, and that's We Up 103.1 We Up FM. And then on Mondays, we do the same. We rock out now. We have a really unique flip. We have a new partner. Shout out to envision-radio.com. So it's Envision Radio, but it's envision-radio.com. And we're on Mondays at 4 p.m. That's Eastern, which would be 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, we want to say thanks again. Go to our website, nomoredirty.org. You can see it on the screen. You got the graphics. It's all good, and that's what we do. So let's get right in. Let's wrap this thing. And again, we want to say thank you for tuning in to the session, Bible, Beats, and Bars. So here we got, well, let's bring them in and shout out to my man, Professor S and Dr. Dave. Here we go. Let's do it. Here we go. nomoredirty.org. Hey, what's going on, Doc? Doc Michael Cross. How you doing, family?
Oh man, I'm good, man. It's good to be back. Oh man, I can't
Bro.
believe that we spent almost 2 months, baby, 2 months.
What, bro?
Yeah, man, hitching some folk
Wow.
and giving some good feedback and some good nuggets. And here we are at the last session, man. So I really appreciate you having me, and it's been a
Yes.
joy to share this ministry and this news and this information with your listeners.
Well, listen, man, let me tell you something. And as before, we're going to flip the script, obviously, and just give them some. But I do want to say this. Thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy schedule. I mean, you're always talking to couples. Again, we were chopping at folk about the quality and the veteran. I say he's a vet, so I say the veteranness. That's my own made word, right? And so tell about the experience, man. Just recently, you was back at home, man, in New Mexico, man. What's up?
No, I was just telling Mr. Fred, man, I had a little bit of an experience, man, just walking down the street. And I was saying, I was making fun because I was like, you've arrived because here in New Mexico, we have a lot of Hispanic and Latino and Latinx individuals. And this guy kind of walked up, the typical movie kind of essay with the tattoos up on his neck and everything else. And he was walking by and he was like, "What's up, OG?" And I was like, "Oh, for real? I'm an OG now? Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. I accept it. I received that. I'm an OG now. I've officially arrived at Fred Ritno's level. I'm an OG."
No, I don't know about that. You just arrived. Listen, you've been doing this thing, man. Over 20 years working in ministry, chaplaincy, again, licensed, certified board, Christian counselor, and then you're ordained minister. So we want to say thanks again. And let me tell you, it's been a lot of people chiming in on the radio side as well as here on No More Dirty, or the video and the YouTube channel, all our social medias. It's just been great. So what are we going to talk about as the finale today, man? Let's dig in. We're still dealing with relationships. The theme is saving your marriage before it starts. And if you're already engaged in the marriage, how to maintain it happily, healthily, and also holy. What's up, bro? What we gonna learn today, bro?
Oh yeah. Well, today's gonna be powerful. I thought last time for the first 5 we dealt with some serious stuff. I mean, we really did. Because we dealt with abuse, and we dealt with anxiety and depression, and a whole list of things that we dealt with on our last show. And today's even going to be more powerful because now we're dealing not only with the internal of stuff happens in the relationship, but now we're dealing with your partner. And so we're going to talk about the partner's past suspicions about their past. We're going to talk about their habits And those habits may include addiction, including sexual addiction or porn addiction, shopping addiction, money addiction, things of that nature. We're going to talk about the sexual past of the partner, past, current. That's very, very important. And then we're going to deal with physical illness and stress. So a lot of times you may get a partner that's wheelchair bound, or a partner that has a physical ailment that requires your 100% dedication to their care. And we'll deal with that. And then last, we're going to deal with unrealistic expectations, things that you bring into the relationship from whatever outside stimuli, outside source that you expect your partner to engage in. And sometimes those situations are unrealistic expectations.
Well, listen, let's get right in. But before we do, I was looking, we've been really planning this one as an amazing finale, and had a chance. A friend of mine was like, hey, said you got to share this with the folk. And, this time we want to go, you all know about the famous NBA retiree Shaq, and he did a little piece on dealing with relationships. So I want you to take a minute, enjoy this thing. When we come back in, we're going to get right in. And we're going to give you a dope video, and we will be right back with Dr. Michael A. Cross in dealing with relationships and how to maintain, or before we start them, what are the best ways. You're listening to The Session, Bible, Beats, and Bars.
Control your life forever. You can't control that.
No, I couldn't.
It's two
bad.
people that involved in the divorce. Bro.
Yeah, but no, I never talked about this, and I'm glad you guys are asking, because I don't mind talking about this. But I was bad. She was awesome. She really was. It was all me. I was just, look. We don't need to talk about what I was doing, but I wasn't protecting her and protecting those vows. So sometimes when you live that double life, you get caught up in. So I'm not gonna say it was her. It was all me, because she was. Look, she did exactly what you're supposed to do. Give me beautiful kids, take care of the house, take care of corporate stuff. It was just all me. Sometimes when you make a lot of mistakes like that, you can't really come back from that. But she's happy now. She's about to marry a fine young gentleman, and I'm happy for her. And we have a great relationship. But as I get older and dwell on situations, I can honestly say it was all me. Because I was big time.
On South Beach in a Lambo, in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
I seen you a couple times. How your big ass fit in the Lamborghini?
So, it's crazy. Ferrari. I bought a real one, and then I bought one that was salvaged. I just super glued them up.
I seen you a couple nights on the like, he's 7'1". How he fit in here?
Yeah, no, but I think, you mentioned the mistakes, and, often have the conversation that, because I've made mistakes as well. And that was how I characterized it, right? And I was like, these are mistakes I've made. When truly, as we become adults and now you get older, those are decisions, right? Those are decisions and choices we choose to make. Because
I'm not crying either. I'm just wiping my eyes.
You good? You good? Because
you good?
because it is, dog. Because it's like. Because at that moment, that's what fulfills you. And I think also as men, sometimes we don't think bigger than that, right? We think about that moment. We don't think about how it affects the people that aren't there at the time, or how it will be seen if, as it said, what's done in the dark comes to light. When you've been so successful in your life, and now you said at this point, being able to look back on that, are there things from that time you would change? And do you believe if you change them, you still like to be married, or you still like to be in that position where you could be with your kids? And like Channing said, could control those type of things.
The best feeling for me was coming home and hearing 5-6 different voices. Don't matter if I missed 15 free throws and we lost. They don't care about that. Dog Man's home. Like, we used to play something called Dog Man. As soon as I come in, I turn into a wild dog and I chase him and bite him. I just used to like get him and act like I'm biting him. And
Dog Man.
Yeah, and they used to love that. And look, I was just being greedy. I had the perfect situation. Wife was finer than a mug.
Mm-hmm.
kept giving me babies, still finer than a mug. I had it all. Just sometimes and I don't make excuses. I know I messed up. And then, when I didn't have that, I don't like to use the D word because I don't really know what it is, but I was lost. 76,000 square foot house by yourself. Lost. No kids. Go to the gym. Nobody's playing in the gym. You go to their room. Nobody's there. You start to feel it. And then as you're getting older and then you hear Shaq ain't Shaq no more. And then you realize Shaq ain't Shaq no more. You go from averaging 30 to 19 and then, but I said to myself, okay, you're not married, but you still have to protect and provide for this family. Get your ass up, man up, let's go. What you gonna do next? At the end of my career, I had a 2-year deal. I wanted to do the farewell Shaq tour and all that, but I got injured. And I didn't know what I was gonna do, so I was just gonna take a year off and be like, okay, what am I gonna do? And luckily I got the job with TNT and I've been working and things have been going on. But all the stuff I'm doing now, that's the stuff I wanted to do. I wanted to invest. I wanted to buy companies. I wanted to be on boards. I wanted to do certain things because, may not be a husband, but I'm always be a father. And the father's job is to protect, provide, and love. I have two, I don't like to use the term baby mamas. I have two wonderful women that have given me beautiful, gorgeous children. I have to protect and I have to provide and I have to love for them forever. That's why I work so hard. I don't work for me. I got it all. I got to work for them. I got to work for my 6 babies.
With a divorce, you controlled your life forever. You can't control that.
No, I couldn't. I was
two
bad.
people that involved in the divorce. Bro.
Yeah, but no, I never talked about this, and I'm glad you guys are asking because I don't mind talking about that. But I was bad. She was awesome. She really was. It was all me. I was just look. We don't need to talk about what I was doing, but I wasn't protecting her and protecting those vows. So.
Wow. Listen, powerful. Doc Cross, what are you thinking, man, after hearing that and such transparency from such an amazing icon we have in our community? What's your thoughts, bro?
Oh man, let me tell you.
Mm.
Number one, that was powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, we can have a show just on that 3 minutes right there, 3-4 minutes of Shaq. The first, I took notes, so we gonna break a couple of that stuff down. I was taking notes while he was talking, and one of the let me get nice and close because I want to make sure that you really hear me here.
Got you. You sound great, man.
Okay, great. The first thing that jumped out at me, and I want our listeners to hear this. Everything that Minister Fred and I have been addressing for the last 2 months has no respect of person, status, money, house, homeless, black, white. It has no respect of that. The reason why we bring these things up is because you could be rich, you could be the King of England, you could be the queen of whoever, you could be the president of the United States, you could be Shaq, MJ, any one of the stars, you could be Denzel. These principles are universal. And if you don't follow the blueprint of the things that we laid out of pre-marriage, during marriage, counseling, all of that, all the money, all the house in the world will not save your marriage.
Wow.
And Shaq made that abundantly clear when he said, I messed up. I was greedy, and his wife was by him 100%, took care of the finances, covered all his corporate issues, took care of the kids. He came home to a happy home, cooked, cleaned, all that, stood by his side. And he said when he lost it all, he was in a umpteen dozen 100,000 square foot house, empty.
Yeah.
And so, let me tell you, it's just powerful. I mean, let me tell you, man, and let me tell you, Shaq is so humble.
He sure is, man.
Not every superstar and not every basketball, football star, and movie star, and influencer is going to sit back on a show and be so honest, open, and transparent and say, "There's a couple things that I want to talk about, but I'm gonna tell you some things. I messed up. I was greedy."
Hmm.
He's so humble,
Yeah.
and then he said, after all of that, I could have just left and be Daddy was a Rolling Stone and kept it rolling, and her and I just apart, and we just done. But he
Right.
said, no, I got 6 kids
Come on
that
now.
require. Let me make sure I get my note here. I want to get this right. He said, I have 6 kids that I have to protect, provide, and love even after the separation. And he said, so I had to man up and be responsible even after, which means we got divorced, but I still have a responsibility to protect, provide, and love for the responsibility of the 6 kids that I brought into this world. And so what did he say? He got himself injured, and that's the other lesson.
Come
Don't
on
ever
now.
think that because you in football, you in this whatever, and you a big star, you can lose it all in one injury.
That's right.
And that $1 million deal is gone.
Yeah.
And Shaq said he was ready to go on a tour, injured himself, and thank God he got that job as a commentator. And
Hmm.
then he began to get businesses and go back to school, get his doctorate that he promised his mom he would do, and
Hmm.
become
That's
a
right.
major business mogul
Yeah.
because he's got responsibilities.
Before we go any further and get in on this six flag, man, these red flags, and this is
Yeah.
serious. It goes back to what we said last week and toward the closing of last. If you have not, go back and check every session, Bible Beats and Bars for the last 8 weeks. But
Yep.
he said something that you specifically talked about, and when you talked about that it's never too late for redemption.
Yes.
That when he made the right choice to man up, in spite of his very unwise choice and decision, knowing that he may and did not get that personal relationship back, what happened was, I believe that because he made the right decision regarding being a protective provider and doing that which is right for his kids, it impacted the rest of the whole situation as a whole, and he was able to bounce back. And now you don't even really deal with that because of what he made as in one great choice. What do you think, Doc?
Oh
Man.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the other major factor that is so crucial. I wish I could find a better word. Crucial, vital, important. If we can find any word that just says how important that is. Even after the mistakes, even after the bad choices, even after now you have the responsibilities, because you can't have sex, have a baby, and say, oops, and take it back. Baby can't go back in the womb. Now
Correct.
you have responsibilities, and now you got 6 responsibilities.
Right.
And even with those mistakes and even with those choices, Shaq said, I had to make a better choice to make sure that the relationship between her and I are still amicable.
Come
We
on.
still talk, but
Yes.
she's moved on and he's happy for her new marriage. And he's moved on to his relationship. And they have what's called a blended family. And they are in uh, uh, um, a, a relationship of respect and looking out for the interest of the children first.
For
So what
sure.
that means is there's redemption, there's the ability to restore that which you have mistakes you have made, and the ability to not be so stressed, don't have depression. You ain't ripping and running and mama said over there and daddy over here and this and that. Shaq says that he has the priority of his children and his
Mm.
ex-wife because he's responsible for taking care of them. And so,
And the
yes,
last,
there is redemption and restoration that is
you know,
available.
this is powerful. And the last piece before we continue, and I think I want to do something unique. I'm feeling led by the Holy Spirit to do something different. Professor, why don't you cue up that video by Erica Mason dealing with the theme of the conversation. But the other thing was I really appreciated as a man and a black man is that what he said was, I'm not going to use the street terms baby mama. He said,
Right.
I have two lovely mothers that I'm going to respect enough. That was, man,
Oh,
I
powerful,
just like
powerful.
cross.
Yeah,
I just,
yeah,
we have got to stop saying and calling our women and our queens out of their name.
yeah,
She has a first name and she has a middle name and she has a last name. And it's not um, an animal that starts, with a B. It's not that chick. It's not no side piece. It's not anything but queenship or the love of my life or the significant other. Why is that important before we get? I really want to show this video now because of what you've said. Why
yeah.
is that important?
It, well, one of the main importance of this is that, as we talked about way at the beginning, words, your tongue has the power to lift up or destroy.
Say that.
And when you have both human beings, man or woman, that feels less than, they're going through whatever depression or anxiety they're going through, they need support, and you are using pejorative terms to kind of push them away or make them second class or make them less than, then you have put a wall between you and them that, yeah, I messed up, but you're nothing more to me than the baby mama, the baby daddy. You're
Yeah.
nothing more to me than the female dog you find. You're nothing more to me than these pejorative terms of my side chick and my this and that. And so what happens is, and the same thing applies on the male side as well. You know,
Okay.
you're just my sugar daddy. You're just my whatever, and I can move on. Well, that doesn't sit well with someone's psychological and mental and stability of trying to restore relationships and trying to,
Mm,
to restore the mistakes we've made. And so
right.
we have to stop that. I agree. We have to stop using these terms. Yes, you may not like the person. Yes, something happened where you fell out of love and you have a baby and you've moved on and she's moved on, but you can still be amicable. You can still be
Mm,
respectful. You can still be honorable when it
mm,
comes to she is still and he is still the parent or the mother or father of your child. And last comment is this: when you use those pejorative terms, guess who's listening? The
wow.
children are listening, and your neighbor is listening, and the folk at church are listening, and the folk at your workplace are listening, and schoolhouse, your people and friends are listening. And when you take time to put them down in that way, then what happens is you have given them a bad reputation or a bad image, unbeknownst to them, because you're walking around, oh yeah, she just my side chick. Oh, that's how you think about the mother of your children?
Mm, mm,
And when the children now begin to, that's how they treat their
right.
mother.
And they pick up on that and they assume that that's the way things are, or
Right,
this is what you call a woman or a female
right,
versus what they are in terms of their title,
right,
their dominion, and the beauty of them being uniquely different and having the ability to be the mothers and the foundation of all successful systems. Listen,
right.
we'll be right back. You got to listen to this song, Erica Mason. It's the conversation. Good God of mercy. Boy, we're going to have some good times today. The session, Bible beats, and bars.
What happens when I choose to confront the darkness in my heart? A place where fear and anxiety consume me and vulnerability is uncovered. Where I find myself questioning the creator of knowledge and wisdom, wondering if I'll ever survive. You see the real me, but I see who I should be. Who I am now, nah, it's not good enough. I'm everything you're not, but to you that's just enough. See, I put so much pressure on myself to be like you, cause I'm afraid what they gon' say when they see I'm not you. So many people, man, they wanna be just like me, but if they saw my flaws, so many people wouldn't like me. Well, who am I to criticize how you created me? I see brokenness, but you see beauty in how you're shaping me. You gave this breath of life, and yeah, I know I keep on blowing it, but in my imperfections, you get the glory you're supposed to get. And I ain't perfect, and that's just an understatement. I can't do this without you. Somebody underline that statement. And I'm a leader, and I know these people watch me, but if I make one mistake, then they label this stuff hypocrisy. But they don't even know what I've been through, and they don't even know where I came from. If it wasn't for you always holding me down, then I know that I wouldn't have came up. And that's real talk, but they don't want to hear that. They just want more songs, they just want more rap. They want a perfect album and a perfect artist, but only the creator can define what perfect art is. The truth be told, man, I'm my biggest critic. See, I'm too afraid to fail, cause I don't think that I can win this. But who do I serve? Is it man or myself? Dang, maybe it's both. I don't know, all I know is I'm trying to be perfect and claim that I'm giving these people some hope, but I'm losing my hope. I know that it's not realistic. I know that I'm broken, I'm missing space. I know I need help, I never will listen. I'm running this race, I'm never gonna finish if I ain't got you. It's what I always say. It's one thing to quote it, but I don't act that way. To be real, I'm just afraid to disappoint myself. Not to mention God, my church, and everybody else. See, in the battle of my mind, I hear your peaceful voice, daughter. I chose you way before you even had a choice. And I accept you, even when you can't accept yourself. You'll never be perfect, that's why I defeated death. So when you cried your tears, I was the one who bottled them. And when you popped those pills, I was the one who swallowed them. I know you hit rock bottom, so you bottle things, but I am your rock. The only thing sitting at the bottom is me. See, I am your God. I'm the greatest thing that can ever happen in your whole life. You don't even know what it took for me to make you and have to turn around and break you so you can be who I made you. And now you're mad that I made you. I paid a price to save you. So you gotta let me change you. See, transition, it has so many phases. See, life is like a tour, so many stages. And I know all you see is different faces, but I promise you, mine, it never changes. I think it's time we had this conversation. Hey, it's been on my mind contemplating, yeah. Gotta know what you say to me, yeah. Won't you speak to me in a crazy whirlwind, but you're always here listening. I think it's time we had this conversation.
Woo! I think we need to have this conversation. Welcome back to the session, Bible Beats and Bars. Okay, let's get right in. Six flag, bro. Caution flag. Where do we need to go in having this conversation? Dr. Michael A. Cross. What's up, bro?
Oh yeah, man. Look, we really have to go back. Like I said, now when we talk about Shaq, you know, this is him talking about what's happening when he's already married. And what we want to deal with is we want to deal with some of those red flags, as we've been talking about, that you're saving your marriage before it starts. So a lot of times we talk about what happens in marriage, but we're talking about some of the pitfalls, some of the red flags, some of the things you want to know before you walk down the aisle. Now, certainly you want to address some of those things in the first couple of years of marriage. So we don't want to take that away. That's why I recommend that after you've gone through your counseling and you walk down the aisle and say, I do, you should take at least another 18 months to 2 years to go back over these things you've learned in the counseling to make sure that your marriage starts out even stronger. So the first red flag that we want to talk about is concerns over your partner's past.
Okay.
Concerns over your partner's past. And this red flag, it is letting you know that the person feels insecure and fearful about what they may not know about their partner. It could be a general suspicion, or it could be focused on something specific that they fear. Suspicion of a partner's past typically centers around feeling as if they don't really know their partner or their partner's history, that there may be gaps in the knowledge. This may appear as an impression, a hunch, or an intuitive feeling that something is not quite right or that something is being covered up. If a person has concerns over their partner's past, it may be a serious reason to press the pause button on their way to getting married. This is something that needs resolution. Anything that is perceived to be incomplete, unsettled, unexplained, or uncertain will demand attention and create further suspicions, driving an eventual wedge between the couple. So that's the little nugget there, Minister Fred. So let's break that down.
Yeah, let's break that down because it seems innocent, but it's not so innocent. Why is that the first one you chose?
Right. Now, I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it again. One of the first things that we learn about us as humans in any relationship, especially when it comes to an intimate relationship. Now, if you grew up with your mama and your daddy, they know you. So you can't really hide nothing because they've known you since you were a child. They know all your habits. They know all your likes and your dislikes. They know your speech patterns. They know all these different things. So I'm not talking about intimate in the sense of mom, dad, brother, sister, etc. I'm talking about loving intimate, sexual intimacy, in which you are seeking to engage in a intimate relationship with someone who you may not know, or someone who you may have known even since middle school or elementary school, but you don't live together. And so I say this all the time. We put on masks. We're on our best behavior. We dress right. We put on the tie. We smell right with the cologne and the perfume. Mm-hmm. We make sure that when we're on a dating, we do all the manners, open the door, and ma'am and sir, and all these different things that we do to put on a mask in order to put on our best behavior for the male or female that we are interested in. And usually, you don't just blurt all of your past stuff out on the first date.
True.
Right? Because that's not going to go well.
You know?
Right. They may not be ready. There's some stuff that you may not be, you may not want to hear. It takes time. Right? But in that mask wearing, like I said, there may be criminality. There may be pathology. There may be anger issues. There may be medical issues. There may be any number of past life, previous relationships, previous children, medical issues, debt, gambling, sexual addiction, any number of things that you are withholding from your partner.
You know, I'm going to read this text. It's Philippians 2:3-5. And it says, don't push your way to the front. Don't sweet talk your way to the top. Put yourself aside, help others get ahead, and make sure you do it without a mask. Don't be obsessed with getting people or getting your advantage at the expense of people. Don't be obsessed with getting your own advantage. Forget others and then doing things that do not help the whole. So think of yourselves the way Christ Jesus thought of himself, being humble but being focused.
Mhm.
This is Doc.
Right up. Hey,
This
biblical.
Philippians 2:3-5. Let this mind be in you that was in Jesus Christ. You can't do that if you're jading people and doing things and, well, I'll put a mask on to be what you want me to be.
Right.
Um,
Hiding,
hiding. Uh,
withholding,
man. And
lying.
it's just, I mean, I think this is the other thing. When you said what you said, is when we do that, we forfeit the beauty of really getting to know the one that we want to learn to learn.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
Like I love you, babe,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna put a mask on so that I can make you think I'm already there when I'm en route to being there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that if you are on the receiving end of this kind of behavior, where you have suspicions, where you have a concern, there's a gut, there's an intuition, there's look, it may not even be something where, man, hey, Minister Fred, man, we were out the other night and I know your lady friend and et cetera, and I saw her do something that was a little disrespectful and she kind of talked over you or she cut you
Right.
off,
Right.
or something, any kind of behavior, right?
Mhm. Right.
Now, the other part of this conversation is it's not just you're on the receiving end, but it could be other people telling you that they see your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your friend telling you, "Hey man, I'm seeing certain little things in her behavior, his behavior that you
Right.
need to be aware of."
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
that's and again, it goes back to what you have said and you've shared with us from week to week, and even on our radio show, which we really recommend you take the time to listen to. Shout out to Envision Dash radio.com on Mondays, 3:30 Central Standard and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But it's so important. If you want to get all this juicy stuff, you need to definitely take the time to go and tune in on Monday afternoons. But I just think it's important. Um, Anything else you want to share on that, or you want to go to the second point?
yeah. No. I mean, I think we've covered that. I mean, the
Yeah,
reality
yeah,
is
yeah.
that if you have a concern over those past, you need to address them. You need to
Right,
seek professional counseling. You need to bring them up and
right,
don't be afraid. And if at any point in which um, you do bring them up as a concern and the person becomes belligerent or
right,
violent or in any way defensive, that right there is a sign you need to
true.
put a pause on this.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I love that what you said. And the other thing is, if you want to find out who the person is, I'm gonna do something real quick, chap. As long as I have this in front of me, what do you see? A hat.
nothing.
You don't see
A
me.
hat. Yeah,
You don't see me. But
right.
imagine taking the hat off, the mask off, the oh, what I always only what I see off, and saying, "Hey, listen, this is who I am. This is one of the things I struggle with," and then doing it and sharing it in a way that's not threatening. Then your partner will say, "You know what? Thank you for sharing. I didn't know that. Well, how can I help?" And if they don't
Right.
respond, then then you can dig a little deeper into what you said, past situations, um, suspicion, and say, well, why do you do this? And then now you're having, again, like we said, that wonderful conversation the reality of the conversation, whether it's wonderful or not, but actually the conversation, like the video, you got to have that conversation.
You got to have it. You got to have it. And you can't, one of the most dangerous thing that you can do is to see the mask or see all that past issues that you may have a question of, ignore it, walk down the aisle, and then it comes up in the marriage, and now you can't get out.
Wow. Yeah. Listen. If they taking the mask off, don't say, okay, I'm glad to see you. Here you go, put it back on tomorrow. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. Say, look, leave it.
Or look. The mask is the only thing I know about you. Keep it on.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. All right.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my God.
Or you take the mask off at the altar.
Right. That's not good at all, because you could be like, oh,
right.
We're going to hit a pin. We're going to stop this,
Right.
Okay.
Or the mask comes off at the honeymoon.
The mask come off accidentally.
Yeah, at the honeymoon.
Oh wow.
Nah, brother. Yeah. No. That's why I recommend 18-24 months of questioning, talking, intimate relationship, intimate conversations, dinners, movie night at home, couples, fellow couple. I'm talking about taking time to get to know this person before you walk down the aisle, because we have seen where people keep that mask on, and you don't know that person is a criminal, that person has pathology, that person is violent, that person raises their voice, that person is crazy with mental illness, unresolved, not taking their medication.
Right.
And you don't know.
That's true. And we seeing it now. We seeing it now in the news.
Yeah. Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doc, let's dig in on the next caution flag. We can go there forever.
Yeah, we could be all day, because we see celebrities.
Come on. I mean, back
that
to
have
back.
masks. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Let's get in,
man.
This is heavy, bro.
All right, number two. Number 2 is your partner's habits. This is the most common caution flag. The more that you realize this, the more you'll discover how frequently a person will raise this flag. It can serve as a bit of a catch-all, and it basically means that they have something specific in mind that their partner does that irks them or gets under their skin. We be prepared for any number of behaviors to surface when you explore this issue of partners' habits. For example, it could be as seemingly innocuous as crunching their ice to not keeping their car gassed up. Or it might be more personal and involve hygiene, not washing their hands after using the bathroom, or etiquette, talking with their mouth full. But it could also be more troublesome. You might hear disturbing habits about their health. They refuse to see a doctor, or their money. They don't believe in banks. It literally can go on and on and on, and can cover nearly anything. If a person is noting this caution flag, they typically had something specific in mind, and it's bothering them. And as the saying goes, for engaged couples, what is now will be then, only more so. Meaning, if it's not covered, not addressed, it's happening now, it will be later, and it'll get worse. Okay, the annoying habits become increasingly more and more annoying over time, and they are bound to negatively impact a marriage if they are not effectively addressed.
I think this is so important what you're saying, Doc, is because number one, this segment, partners habits, is really about secrets. It's really about secrets. This can even spill over into addictions, whether that's sexual addictions like pornography or
Yeah,
gadgets, or it's there's an array of things. But
yeah.
let's talk about that. It's really about secrets, would you say, or not?
It is about secrets. I'll put it like this: there are really two ways you can look at habits.
Okay,
You can either
let's do.
look at the secret habit that I
Okay,
have or the person has that is in the privacy of your own home that nobody sees,
okay,
and you engage in it, privately,
right,
right?
got you.
And you're talking
Mhm.
about addictions, and it's my money. I shop, and no one sees that I have a shopping addiction. I go to
Okay.
the. I'm single. I go to the. I work. I go to the club, or alcohol or something, smoking,
Mhm. Right.
or I go to the. I don't know why I can't think of the word, but when you have the gambling, the
Yeah.
casino,
Right. The casinos.
okay,
Right.
and I'm going to spend my rent money and my food money and my
Mm,
responsibility of having the money that I earn on gambling. Well,
mm,
nobody sees that. No one knows I'm
right.
there. It's private, right? Then you
Right.
have those habits that are publicly known because we are on a date and you talk with your mouth full and you
Right.
got food coming all over the place, or
Wow.
you
Mm,
know, just these little habits that and especially, and here's the worst part, Mr. Fred.
okay.
Here's the worst part of the partner's habits. When you start out, you don't really know the habits because you're not really living together, or you're just meeting and you don't know what their habits were before you met and what her habits were before you met her.
Correct.
And then you decide to cohabitate.
Mm, wow.
And all of a
Again.
sudden,
Wow.
you start getting comfortable and you're not even married, and you're living with a partner that leaves their drawers on the floor,
Mm,
doesn't wash up, bad hygiene, doesn't keep themselves well, keeps
right.
dishes in the sink for 2, 3, 4 days,
Yeah.
walks around the house, in looking any old way. Their room is a disaster.
Mm,
These are habits that, if they're not resolved and not addressed and not seeking help, now some habits are psychological and you need help. Hoarding, depression,
right. Right. Right.
anxiety, that lead to certain habits that you can't break. But you don't want to get into not looking at those habits, walk down the aisle, and now you're living with a pigsty.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow. So this is why we do this every week. The session,
Mhm.
Bible Beats and Bars, where life meets faith, meets practical living and stability and becoming self sufficient. So, before we move to this next point, what would you suggest to someone who is dealing with partners' habits and addictions, and they wake up one morning and they say, I don't want to be addicted no more. And I haven't told my baby, my boo, or my boo, my babe knows I'm struggling with this. How do I get relief? And what does that look like prior to saying to the counselor like yourself, listen, we need to get into counseling? What would you say? What would that 1, 2, 3 step possibly be?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great question. 1, 2, 3. First step is to accept that you have an addiction.
Okay.
That's the first step. The first step is acceptance and realization that you have a problem. Whether that habit is something that you grew up with, it was nurtured into you, and you've got to get help to break that cycle from mom or dad, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, church, whatever. You got to accept the first that, okay, I have to stop talking over and raising my voice to my partner. I need to get myself together, maybe find a professional to help me clean my house and teach me how to organize and put things in the proper place so that I can live a clean and organized dwelling. I have an addiction with porn. I have an addiction with money, spending. I have an addiction with alcohol. Any of those addictions, you need professional help. If someone came to me as a Christian counselor, I would probably deal with about 3 to 5 sessions, and then I would recommend an actual psychologist, PhD, psychiatrist, professional clinical counselor to help you with your problem. That's number 2. So number 2 is getting the help. And there are professionals out there that deal with specifically. There's XXX Church is one that deals with porn addiction. There are retreats and areas you can go to for a month or 2 months, and they specifically deal with men and women. Retreat that have professionals on site to help you with porn addiction and sexual addiction. And then there are lifestyle and living coaches that help you get your finances and your home life and your hygiene together.
Love that. Love that.
And then last, number 3, would be to have a meaningful, powerful, prayerful, I always say HOT, H-O-T, honest, open, and transparent conversation with your partner. Honey, boo, I'm dealing with this. I struggle. I love you. I want this to be a meaningful relationship. I want you to help me with it. And I want to be able to overcome this situation so that I can be a better person for me personally and a better partner and a better spouse for you down the road. You've got to be honest with your partner and let them know so that they can be a part of your team that helps you to heal from the situation.
Wow. Ooh, this is good stuff, Doc. I am just no words, no words, no words. All right, so let's do this next one. Let's do the next one, and then we're going to do a music video, and then we'll do the wrap up with the last 2.
Okay.
So,
all right. So the next one we're going to deal with is sexual life, past, current. Let me just get to my little notes here.
okay.
There it is. Partners, sexual life. Now, Minister Fred.
Here we go. Buckle up, folks.
Let me straighten up my tie. Let me straighten. Make sure
oh my gosh.
Because let me tell you something. We are delving into something that is that is controversial.
Come on.
At best, and there are the same 7 billion people on the planet. There are 7 billion different viewpoints when it comes to sex, just any old sex, whatever, sex before marriage, sex, cohabitation, sex just to have children, sex as a means to coerce and to force someone, sex after marriage, and let me tell you something. It is important. It is vital. Right now, We here at No More Dirty, the session Bible Beats and Bars, all right? Minister Fred, Dr. Mike Cross, board certified, licensed, ordained chaplain. We want you to know that we support abstinence and we support celibacy.
Say that.
I want that to be abundantly clear that from the Bible perspective, you need to save yourself, okay, from sexual intercourse and involvement in any kind of sexual activity until you walk down the aisle and say, I do to your life partner.
Wow. So
Now,
before we get in there, let me say this before we get in there. Listen, we are very serious about this. There are so many, how can I say this? There are so many issues that we could bypass, or like the song by AI, she says, miss me with that. But if we're not careful and we're engaged in things in multiple relationships and it just doesn't matter, well, it's just sex or it's just this or it's just a practice. But if we're not careful, we won't be able to distinguish, we won't be able to miss or be able to recognize the attacks of the enemy, the byproducts of the dysfunctionality that comes from being engaged in sexual activities in the sexual life past and even present to even get down the aisle. Go ahead, bro. I just need to put that out there.
Oh yeah, be clear. Yeah. Now, before I get to this part, let me also add this. We believe also in redemption. We believe in forgiveness. We believe in God being able to restore that which the mistakes and the choices that we have made. I mean, a beautiful video that Minister Fred showed with Shaq was that Shaq realized his mistake, realized the choices he made, realized what he lost, and then decided to go down the path of, I still have a responsibility to the children, the mother of my children, and the children that I had, and the children that are growing up, making sure that I set the right example.
Right.
So we want you to know that yes, while you have made a mistake, don't stay in those types of dysfunctional and insidious and potentially damaging behaviors, as though, well, I made a mistake, let me just keep doing the same mistake, and now you've got the results of that mistake because you have not learned your lesson. So let me share the partner's sexual life, the concern with that.
Right.
This caution flag appears when the person has a concern about their partner's predilection for casual sex and potential unfaithfulness. Let's make sure that I say that again. Concern about your partner's predilection for casual sex and potential unfaithfulness. The person with this concern fears that their partner may be involved in any number of disconcerting sexual activities. Proglativities is the word.
Activities.
But let's just say activities.
Yeah, you're just getting it in.
From visiting prostitutes to having one-night stands or even an ongoing affair. Or it may be the partner's sexual history. Of course, it could also be a matter of hyper concern, irrational paranoia, but it's something that needs to be addressed. When a person has concerns about their partner's sexual promiscuity, it must be taken very seriously. It's bound to cause emotional pain because of betrayal, as well as fear about sexually transmitted diseases. It can't help but to fracture the relationship if resolve is not achieved. And we haven't even talked about STDs and all of that. So I think Minister Fred ought to bring that part up and address that.
Well, it's just that what happens is because these STIs, that's sexually transmitted infections, as well as sexually transmitted diseases, are so deadly, and because they stop productivity in the mind, the body, and the soul, let alone the impact financially, the impact on the actual family structure, then again, it is wise to heed what Dr. Cross is sharing. I mean, if you don't have to go down that lane to destruction, to hurt, disappointment, divorce, abuse, multiple issues that are just destructive, any of those, like they said, oh my goodness, it's a bad thing. So if you don't have to do it, miss me with that.
Yeah.
Don't go. Or at
Yeah.
least say, let me reach out to Michael A. Cross on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, thesimbus.com. Let me at least say, Dr. Cross, can we speak? Can we talk? What's your number? I really am struggling. I'm concerned about what I'm seeing in my home. Would that be fair to say, Dr. Cross?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's vital because um, the one thing that we have to understand about sex is the emotional connection, um, the pleasure that comes with it, um, the gratification. We're not
Right.
saying that sex is bad. What we are saying is that sex needs to be placed in its right and proper place so that you don't have the pitfalls and the consequences and the issues that have arisen over our lifetime and over history when
Right.
it is out of place and now you have multiple children not ready for children when you do have sex. You don't have a bachelor's degree. You don't have a quality job. Let me share a story,
Yeah,
Minister Fred.
just share the story. I think that's important. They need to
Yeah,
hear
let
it.
me share a story. I remember growing up. Now, I grew up in a West Indian household. My mother and my dad, and I grew up in the church. So, from as young as I can remember, the first thing was I was afraid to have it anyway. That's the first thing.
Mm,
But number two, because I grew up in a household where there were some standards. Now, it wasn't perfect. My mom and dad, I had domestic violence, as I shared with you before. Um, I was an only child. And, I grew up in the church where I knew I wanted to be a minister. And so in my mind, sex was the last thing. I had opportunities. I was a football track star. I was much smaller than this. I was, buffed and handsome young man and in the church and in school and all of that and had at the prom and different opportunities. And I was just afraid to do it. But
mm,
my mom and dad sat me down one day and said, I need you to watch this show. And for those of you listening, it was the show where it was the Cosby Show.
mhm.
We thank God for good quality television back in the day. And one of them was the Cosby Show, where Theo Huxtable got beside himself. He was grown, and he thought he can, he could
He was
do no
suave.
wrong, and
Yeah.
all of that, and got beside himself, and he left the house. Oh, you want to move out? Okay, go on and move out. And when he came back, they had emptied out his room. Rudy Huxtable was the landlord. His mother was the cook, and all of that. And and when he came to, well, what's all this? His father said, well, you said you grown, so
Mm,
let me give you some Monopoly money, and let me teach you a lesson. Number
mm,
one, you owe some rent. Rent, yeah, you owe rent. And so he
mm,
took the Monopoly money. Your mother's downstairs cooking. This is the cook for the house. You owe this amount of money for food. Oh, okay. You have a car? Yeah, I need to take this for gas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then he said, you got a girlfriend? Yep. Okay. That's the rest of your money. And he was broke. And my mother taught me this lesson. My dad taught me this lesson. If you're grown enough to go out and have sex and have a child, then you're man enough and grown enough to go out there and take care of that child.
Right.
But what you don't know is that there's prenatal care.
Mm-hmm.
There's preparation for the baby. There's hospital visits.
Correct.
There's medication and stuff for the mother to be healthy.
Correct.
Then when the actual baby comes on the day of the birth, you have the OBGYN. You got the nurse. You got the room. You got the epidural if you're going to get pain. You got the anesthesiologist. I mean, you're going to walk out that hospital with $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in debt. We haven't talked about diapers every day.
Come on.
Formula, that's $10, $12, $15 a can.
Good case, man.
$20 a can. Diapers, man. You're changing what? Every 2 hours, you're changing diapers.
2 to 3 hours. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay? The reality is, my friends, it costs to have children. There was a statistic back in the day that said one child is the equivalent of a bachelor's degree.
Come on.
You have to have a bachelor's making $60,000 or more a year to take care of one child. And the more children you have, Shaq, the more responsibility you have. And that's why Shaq said, I had to go to work.
I had to handle my business.
Handle my business. And so while people may be concerned over Planned Parenthood and some of their, and I'm not pushing that, all I'm saying within the Planned Parenthood part is you need to plan having children.
And to plan to have a family. Otherwise, like the song that we're going to play by A. Anomaly, it's called Miss Me. Miss me with just the gestures that, ooh, you fine, let's do this. Miss me with the gestures that if I make the wrong decision, I live the rest of my life not being able to afford to take care of now of a new family. Miss me with the drama, miss me with the abuse, miss me with the inappropriate actions within the home, whether it's family to family or whether it's abuse outside or inside the family. Miss me with that. And so we want you to listen to the words of this and listen to the words of the song, but really look at the visuals and why it's important to make wise choices. And we'll finale with the last two pieces with Dr. Michael A. Cross. You're tuned into the session, Bible, Beats, and Bars. Let's go.
A lot of times I've talked myself out of things. I had doubts, I had fears. Held me back. Sometimes I had to tell myself with my complaints, miss me with that. Miss me, along with others with those same doubts about me. Miss me with that. Negativity. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. Go ahead and miss me with that. Miss me with that. Oh no, I can't kick it with that. I ain't with that. Go ahead and miss me with that. Miss me with that. Ain't no time to wait. Quiet your complaint. Move on my way. Go ahead and miss me with that. Miss me with that. steady pacing, steady moving, that's the way to go. I ain't quitting, I ain't giving in, ain't letting go. It's looking crooked, I ain't sweat, I'ma keep it going. I feel broken, I feel lost, about to brush it off. Keep it broken, keep it focused, keep it forward, yo. I see you pushing, keep pursuing. If you take a loss, take a roll, grab it by the neck, tell it quiet down. Passion pumping, go ahead and flex, fly it off the ground. Anything other than that. Miss me with that, miss me with that. Go ahead and miss me with that, miss me with that. Oh no, I can't kick you with that, I ain't with that. Go ahead and miss me with that, miss me with that. Ain't no time to wait. Quiet your complaint, move out my way. Go getters. The type of people you should keep around you. Don't be consumers. They always wanting, but never have enough. Be producers. Be consistent. Doors will open up and keep it loyal. Integrity. It really means so much. Money manage. Make your profit. Let it make some noise and quit complaining. Go find a way that you can make some changes. What life you living? If it ain't true, quit your fairy telling it. Get your tail up, make some moves, grow from failing. Watch the winners, take some notes, and don't be jealous. Ask your questions, learn something, then go teach some lessons. Be about your business, start and finish. You don't need permission. Keep away from foolish intention. Don't let that lazy hit you. Rooted in my faith, keep my mission in my face. I got a vision I can taste. I ain't greedy with this steak. I ain't afraid to share the plate. But if you ain't about this weight, it's plenty room up in this space. Go ahead and find your way, but miss me with that, yeah. Completely miss me with that, yeah. That fear coming, I can't kick it with that, no. That doubt coming, I can't get it with that, no. Miss me with that, miss me with that. Go ahead and miss me with that, miss me with that. Oh no, I can't kick it with that, I ain't with that. Go ahead and miss me with that, miss me with that. Ain't no time to wait. Quiet your complaint. Tell my dogs, tell my fears. Move out my way. Go ahead and miss me with that, miss me with that. Miss me with that, miss me with that. Ain't no time to wait. Had to tell myself. Quiet your complaint. Had to tell myself, miss me with that, miss me with that. Go ahead and miss me with that, miss me with that.
The blood of Christ made us clean.
The No More Dirty TV show, hosted by Minister Fred 2, airing the cleanest and dopest music videos in the industry every Wednesday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the No More Dirty Inc. YouTube channel. We got clean, positive Christian hip-hop and urban music for your viewing and listening pleasure. We also have music video exclusives, interviews, ciphers, life lessons, and more. Make sure to follow us at Minister Fred 2, at No More Dirty Inc., and at No More Dirty Radio Show. For more information, email us at info@nomoredirty.org or call 256-698-9749. The No More Dirty TV show. Connect with us and tune in.
Miss me with that. Miss me with that. Welcome back to the session, Bible Beats and Bars. Let's get right in. Oh man, listen. I hope you are being blessed by this. In fact, I know you're being blessed by this. This is what we do every Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on my coast. If you're on the East Coast and you go up to 3 p.m., we kick off. If you're on the West Coast, double back 2 hours. I mean, you know what that means. That's 1 o'clock. That's 12 o'clock your time if you're in Cali on that side of the West. And if you're in the middle ways, you out there with Dr. Cross, you already know it's 1 hour in that Las Vegas, New Mexico area. But anyway, we want to say thank you for taking the time. And then don't forget on tomorrow or every Sunday, let me just say it that way. Every Sunday, 5 p.m., you got the No More Dirty radio show, and that's everybody. That's Coach Joe, the whole squad. And then also at 6 o'clock, We Up 103.1. And then on Mondays, we're also, you can check us out, and shout out to the Cannon family for being our new partner and partnering with us and bringing us on their station. And that is envision-radio.com on Mondays at 4 p.m. on the East Coast side and 3 p.m. South Central Standard Time. So again, let's get right in, and then I'll talk about DJ Scissorhand on the back end because he's on tonight at 9 p.m. I'll talk a little bit more. But Coach, let's get this thing going on. Dr. Cross, let's dig in, brother. Let's wrap up these last two pieces. What we got next, man? Or do we have?
All right. So the second one, or I'm sorry, what we at? Number 8 or number 9? Number 9.
9, really? We're almost on the wrap. Okay.
Yeah, also on wrap. Number 9. Yep. Okay. So physical illness. This caution flag appears when the person has any number of potential ailments. The person with this issue could have anything from a malady that is physically obvious and might require something like a wheelchair, or it could be something that is completely unknown, such as diabetes. Okay? The concern here is primarily with chronic physical illness, an enduring health problem that is unlikely to go away soon. Some examples include asthma, arthritis, chronic pain, cancer, muscular dystrophy, lupus, macular degeneration, and so on. Any chronic illness is certain to have profound implications on a marriage relationship. And going back to our previous part about the sexual past and promiscuity, that also includes those STDs, AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea, any one of those types of diseases that are not seen out front, like the back of your hand, but they are hidden. And a person can hide those types of things from you, and it be unknown to you, and you are engaging in sexual activity with the potential of some very damaging illnesses down the road. That's very important. So yes, physical illness is something that you need to be aware of, because a couple things, very important.
All right.
One, it's going to take time from you. You may have to quit your job. You may have to become a full-time caregiver. Your relationships with others, including your children, may be damaged or put on hold, or it may go from 100% or 80-20 down to 80% taking care of them and 20% taking care of that of your family.
Gotcha.
And then number 2, it will require financial resources. Okay? Updating wheelchairs every 2 or 3 years. A multi-$1,000, not normal, but more than the usual, thousands of dollars in some kind of handicapped or wheelchair accessible van or vehicle. Inserting ramps in your home and bars and different wheelchair things, and readjusting your bathroom to make sure that a wheelchair can go in for the person to take a shower and be cared for. It can go as far as the hiring of a full-time or part-time home health aide, medications, savings account may be drained because of now this problem, this issue, this ailment.
Right.
And so, very important that you consider these things before you go into a relationship and walk down the aisle and say, I do.
I am very appreciative of that. So I do want to say this. I have, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt, that I have some friends, Doc, that have done just what you have said. And let me say it this way. It's important that you take the time again, going back to what his points were previously. Take that 18 to 24 months to get to know the one that you are interested in, you are intentional about being with, and you desire to be with in a state of holy matrimony or marriage, right? I had a really great conversation recently with a friend, and we were just talking about just this, Dr. Cross, about, you know, I want to be transparent. In the past or in my family, there's been health conditions, health situations, and what have you. But I have seen it in my family. I've seen it in other friends and family that when the love is genuine and you've had that conversation, like you said, and you sat down and said, well, what is this issue? What is this disease? It's a rare disease, so on and so on. How does it impact you? And they have worked through that thing, brother. They did the necessary homework and research, got the Medicare, the Medicaid, got everything in line so that if for some unfortunate reason um, their health began to wane or fail, they had those things in place. They had those things in place, and the spouse who was the healthiest said, "Babe, I'm going to handle my business." I got some homies, man. They handled their business, and it did happen.
Yeah.
And they stayed with their boo, their bae, stayed with them, and they made it through. And I believe that it's possible when that is the right person. You've done the counseling and you've done the research and you've got in touch with a licensed board counselor, and especially if you have added the element of faith. You know that God is able, because God can heal and He can restore, but it's in His time, not necessarily our time. Would that be safe to say, Dr. Cross?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll piggyback off what you said, Minister Fred. Same thing. 18 to 24 months is plenty of time for you to have that conversation, to decide in your own personal walk, in your heart, in the conversation of love, compassion, and truly wanting to be with the person and love them, to make that choice that I will accept um, any potential health issues or potential ailments. I will try my best to help them overcome. If for an example, a wife could help, or a husband can help a wife to overcome diabetes,
Correct.
by helping them to lose weight and to trim down and to cook healthier and to be the at-home dietitian.
Correct.
There are ways now. If you have things that are a little bit more physical, like multiple sclerosis and things that are not readily healable at that moment, and you're still willing to, then yes, you need to have that conversation, because it is true that I know friends that had a friend that herself dated and married a person that was a um, I was going to say quadriplegic, but it's actually from the waist down.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I think that's paraplegic, isn't it? Paraplegic is the waist down. Yeah.
Correct.
And so, from the waist down, paralyzed due to lifestyle, drugs, and crime and things like that, got shot in the back and lost the use of his legs. And she fell in love and they got married, and she spent time realizing that and taking care of him, wheelchair, the house, the van,
Right.
making sure he was washed up and kept right, and hygiene, all that stuff. But absolutely. It is something that needs to be addressed, and you do not want to go down that road with someone hiding stuff from you, and then they're dropping it on you, expecting you to now empty out your bank account and adjust your whole life because they were not honest with you from the beginning.
Which goes back to the previous points and some of the conversations we've had previously. Hot. If they're not honest, they're not bringing this to the forefront up front, and in an ample amount of time for you to make the decision and choose to still, based upon the knowledge, based upon the research, based upon all scenarios related to diverse abilities, which is the term we use for those that have a disability in this century. And then also, I think, like you said, Dr. Cross, it's important that we're honest with ourselves. Because you can be honest with the spouse, but are you honest with yourself?
Right.
How much of this can I really handle? And if I can't, what are the options? Do we get a house that has an additional room? What type of extra expenses are involved and things of that nature? And then from there, you can actually make a very wise decision and do it earlier on, so that what happens is, like you said, all the way back in our first 2 weeks, you said something powerful. You do, by doing the 18 to 24 months, you discover whether it's the best relationship is a friendship or if it's something even more personal. Would you agree with that? Because I just think
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, here's the reality. You cannot spring something on your partner. You can't
Correct.
just drop it last minute. That is unfair.
Correct.
It is it's just unfair. It's something that you have to spend time and be what you're going to say, Mr. Fred, was honest, open, and transparent. Hot.
Correct. Correct.
Right? You've got to
Yes.
do
Correct.
that because unfortunately we do live in a world of human flaws, and we live in a world where people sometimes will look for a hookup or look for someone to take care of them without being honest, open, transparent. And so I'm dating this girl, I'm dating this man. You know, he's a PhD, he's a doctor,
Right.
he's this, he's that.
Mhm.
And I could just spring my stuff on them, and I know that they'll take care of me for the rest of my life.
Right. Because
And
you don't want to
until
deal with bitterness. Yeah, that's
right. And so you have to have that conversation of from the forefront, honey. I'm diabetic. I need your help. There are going to be consequences of my lifestyle with either blindness or loss of limb if it gets worse, etc. I don't want to go down that path, but I
correct.
need your help to help me to overcome this diabetes, to get my sugars under control so that I don't become a burden to you
Mhm.
10, 20 years down the road.
I love that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What can we do? Let's exercise. Let's see a
And
dietitian.
you know what? The other thing too, and after you had that conversation, you can say, "Well, are you? Why don't you take the time to think? Do you want to be with me, knowing these things now?" Because I think it's fair that we ask the question. Here's my
Right.
scenario. Here's my reality, and I know
Right.
that there's some potential hurt and there's loss that can happen. Um, do you want to go down this path with me, babe? Ask the question in
Yeah.
sincerity, and then give them the ample time. You talked about that the last week
Yeah.
about giving them time to digest.
Yes.
Walk away,
Right.
give me a minute, and then let me come back and we talk about it over lunch or dinner next. Give me a week or so, or give me
Right.
whatever, and then you can at
Absolutely.
least. And that goes to what you. The other piece of this is stress that alleviates or at least reduces the level of stress because I didn't say it, or the
Oh
stress
yeah.
level because I did say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Stress is another major one. Let's go over that real quick.
Sure.
There could be any number of reasons that this caution flag comes up. Stress is a normal physical response to anything that feels threatening or upsetting. When working properly, it helps us stay focused, energetic, and alert. But stress becomes hazardous and unhelpful when it begins to damage one's health,
Mm,
productivity, and/or relationships. Symptoms include memory problems, poor judgment, negativity, excessive worry, moodiness, irritability,
mm.
feeling overwhelmed, nervousness, procrastination, and so on. Exploring a dysfunctional stress level with a person is important to marriage preparation because it can actually be manifested as a result of preparing for the wedding or even concerned about making such a significant commitment. So yes, sometimes you see brides and grooms achieve stress just from the wedding preparation.
Right.
And of course, the stress may be completely unrelated to the upcoming marriage. Regardless, it is bound to negatively impact the person's well-being as well as their relationship. So yes, another part, an aspect of that would also be making sure that there are healthy levels of stress and that you get the professional help you need if you find yourself being overwhelmed to the point where it becomes damaging to your mental health and producing a lack of productivity and damaging your relationship. Absolutely.
Love it, love it. All right, so we about to land the plane now, Doc. Let's talk about the last piece. But before we do, let me again say thank you for tuning into the session Bible Beats and Bars. Every Saturday we do this. You can always catch the replay on Monday nights. We do it again Monday nights at 7:30 Central Standard Time, and you cannot miss it. It's always No More Dirty INC, the Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitter, all of the major things. It's on the screen. It's every Saturday at 2 p.m. And even so, we do the replay. So if you miss it today, you're able to catch it again on Monday evenings. And then of course you can watch it anytime on our specific YouTube channel, No More Dirty INC. All right, so let's get to the last piece. I think this is important because I'm glad we saved the best for last, Dr. Cross. So let's talk about this last piece, and then I've got something really great to share.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so we are landing the plane, man. It's been great. It's been great.
Let the seats back up. Man. You have the next. We're about to land the plane.
It's man. Minister Fred has been the pilot.
And
everything, man.
You the co-pilot, baby.
Man. All right. Unrealistic expectations. Let me tell you.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, man. One of the things I have learned about this Symbis and about spending time with you, Minister Fred, is that all the things that we have talked about, from the mindset to the red flags, to all the expectations, everything, I have learned that couples are always surprised. Man,
really?
I didn't think about that, because they don't realize how practical I am when it comes to addressing certain things. For an example, we talked about the other day, a couple weeks back, who takes out the trash? Who gasses up the car? Who's responsible for, the discipline of the children? Who does all the laundry and washes and does all the housework and chores and yard work? And all it takes is one argument, one disagreement, one issue, one unrealistic expectation, and that thing can blow up because you're a man. I grew up in a household where the man don't wash dishes, the woman washes dishes.
Okay, that's definitely
the man. Yeah. Because we have roles.
I ain't got no issue with it personally, but yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, I don't either. But you have those roles that people are traditional in and say, I'm going into this knowing that this is the man's role, the woman's role, and we're not mixing and we're not going to change. And you can't,
unrealistic.
Right? Okay.
Real.
Unrealistic. Absolutely. Especially in 21st century. Unrealistic. Right. So when this caution flag appears, it indicates that the person is likely thinking that they can change something about their partner once they get married. They are adamantly against the old adage that says, accept your partner as is or don't get married. Here's the scenario. The picture of what the person has in their mind of what their partner is going to be like once they get married is different from how that person appears to them now. In other words, they somehow and in some way plan on making their partner better than they currently are. This is an unhealthy perspective that is bound to cause disappointment and potential heartache. Why? Because the person obviously doesn't like or appreciate some aspect of their partner, and they intend to make it go away or become something or someone that the person doesn't embody. Of course, this isn't reality. That's why it's unrealistic. So that, Minister Fred, that's a lot that's in there,
There's
because
a lot. That's a lot.
yeah, because what you're saying to me is you don't like something about me,
Right.
and it's my role in the 18-24 months to change you, right?
Right. At
Or
least I thought.
right, to change me, or uh wait until we get into the marriage, don't address it, and then
Mm.
address it for 6 months, a year, 2 months in, 2 years in.
Wow. You know that is, okay, so this is deep because I'm listening to you and what hits me is the term we hear all the time, pet peeves. Pet
Yeah,
peeves.
yeah,
So a
yeah,
pet peeve is really one of those things that if you don't address it in your regular conversating, dating, courting 18 months, 24 months, that pet peeve becomes the wedge, unresolved wedge that will destroy a relationship
yes, yes.
because
It
now
it
everything's
look,
unrealistic. It doesn't,
yeah,
you saying that, but you can't, it doesn't make no sense. This is unrealistic. I'm out,
yeah,
which tends to lead to divorce and heartache.
yep,
And now you got kids and all your friends. I thought y'all was going to make it. And oh, just some
yeah.
mess.
Let me give you another unrealistic expectation that we
Okay, cool.
always have. I want you to be like my mother,
Or your
or
daddy.
I want you, the man, to be like my father.
Oh,
That is the most foolish, unbiblical, un. I'm not marrying my mother. I'm not marrying my father.
correct, correct.
I want someone who's independent of thought, has their own personality, and we can sit down and talk about those expectations of behavior and all that as we get to know each other.
Okay.
But don't think that when you're in this relationship, um, I'm gonna come in and pressure you
Mm,
into cooking like my mother
right.
and looking after me like my mother. Well, my mama did this and my mama did that, and she kept the house and she did this and she washed all the dishes and she did this and she did that, and I need you to do exactly like my mother did.
Mm. Yeah, it is unrealistic.
Unrealistic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question. So, and we want to, I think this is a good question to ask now. So, Dr. Cross, understanding that we are not our parent and they're not us, and we should not impress all of that pressure because that's what it seems to be,
Yeah.
unrealistic pressure. But let's talk about being able to glean some of the good things from our previous role models, whether that's our parent, a mother, a father, grandma, because you have some
Yeah.
situations, and
Yeah. Oh, of course.
when I'm working in my job, low income, and some that are affluent, they're like, well, my grandmother and grandparents stayed together 50 years, and whatever they did, it definitely should be work for me. How would you
Mhm.
address that in terms of individuality, yet still gleaning those good results?
Right. There are two ways to address that. Number one is yes, while there are universal behaviors and expectations across the board, right? Long marriage, number one, I'm sure that if they have 50, 60 years of marriage, they were good communicators,
Correct.
right? They talk things through. They
Right.
walked through the rough times and the tough times, and they saw it through. They prayed. They were spiritual. They're whatever. They Bible. They
Hmm.
never let the sun set on their anger. They talk things through in the privacy of their bedroom.
Hmm.
They left people out of their business. You don't want
Correct.
everybody up in your business,
Correct.
right? So there are some universal things that, yes, my mom, my dad set some examples, and while we're dating, we're talking about it. Oh, that's nice. That'd be great. I think my mom, I think I could do that. If your mom, made, uplifted you and talked life into your existence and encouraged you and all that stuff, and that's your love language, then
Right.
I can emulate that. Yeah, sure. You know, your father was a provider, was a protector, was this and that, and I know that's your love language, where you're expecting me to be the man and the priest of the household. Universal stuff.
Correct. Okay, good.
You see what I'm
Thanks for
saying?
sharing that.
Oh yeah. But what you don't want is, you don't want it to be emulated to the point where it must be done, or else.
Right. The ultimatum
Okay.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimatum. And then number two, the second not example, but I would say recommendation would be, if you do have those role models of grandmother and grandfather, if they're alive, of course, mom and dad, or aunt and uncle, or in the church, an older couple, okay? While you're dating, get counsel from someone who has been there for a long time. Let them be your marriage coach and learn some things from what allowed their marriage to be this long,
Wow. That's great.
right?
Yes.
You don't want someone that's been divorced 17 times telling
Right.
you how to, you have to see and obtain right. I mean, you don't. you know,
Yeah.
there are some people that are just
Right.
not good role models and good examples.
Correct.
So you got to have people that are good role models, good examples, that you can bring in and say, can you be our marriage coach to help
Right.
us understand how I should be and he should be in some of the things that keep us happy in the marriage?
I love that. I love that. So let's do the wrap up this way. Are there any other points you want to share, or do we want to just go through the five or six points and do a wrap up? What's your thoughts on that? I'll
Yeah,
leave that
just
to you.
just a last point. I think that we spent a great deal of time together. Again, I am so appreciative of the opportunity to share what wisdom I do have as a counselor. Minister Fred and I have had a great time together with the team. Professor X has done an excellent job of editing and keeping it all together. So I thank him as well,
Yeah.
as the co-producer there. And look, for those of you listening, we haven't even really. This is just surface. I mean, there's a whole
Yeah.
lot more, that we haven't
Definitely.
addressed. But I hope and pray that you have gleaned something that you can
Mm.
write down, take to the bank, that you can use to help you become a better me, a better you, and to save your marriage before it starts. I hope that we have helped you to be practical, to be real, to address real issues in our community. And I hope that we've been able to support you, knowing that whatever mistakes you've made, whatever situation you may be in, there is redemption. There is an opportunity to turn around. There's an opportunity to fix. There's an opportunity to make things right.
Mm.
And by the grace of God and with the grace of God, we know that you can do it. And so I thank you so much for listening and just being with us over the several weeks that we've done this.
Let's put our hands together. I think this is a great time to just say thank you. I want you to take the time to get into the chat and just share your comments. Thank you so much. To our studio guests, thank you. And then again, we want to say thank you to you for taking time to be with us today. We don't want to close without doing God's mailbox. We value your feedback, as you see on the screen. Go to the website nomoredirty.org and say, listen, I want to be a part. I want to support. We are listener and viewed, supported, so that you know what that means. It's basically If this has been a blessing to you, go to the website, go to Cash App, No More Dirty Inc., and say, hey, I want to be a part of your giving. Make it worth. We are a tax deductible public charity, so it would be a charitable gift, and you would be able to write it off while at the same time gleaning. So I do want to go right into the God's mailbox. I would like Professor, go ahead and bring chat back in. I think this is important. But we do something here every week, and I just want to kind of share, and I definitely want us to kind of do this together, and then we'll go out with a bang with an amazing song by No Big Deal. Every week we do this thing called God's mailbox. The late Sister Doss, who is like a sister, she's a mama to us, and what have you. She used to write all of her prayer requests, all of her thoughts, very therapeutic. She would write she had a journals actually, and she actually got me involved in writing my prayers and my thoughts unto God. And then, so we want to encourage you to do the same. Get you an index card or maybe a journal book or a notebook and write down your thoughts and your prayers and say your concerns and say, God, this is where I'm at. I want to be a better husband, a better wife, a better boyfriend, a better girlfriend, a better significant other. I want to be a better man, woman, boy, or girl, and let God know what you want. Let Him know what you want. Let Him know what your concerns and what you're fearful. Fear cannot hold you unless you allow it to do so. Chap, why don't you share? And I want you to definitely give the prayer. Any closing remarks on this? Okay, gotcha. So this is the thing. Why don't you pray for the folk, and then we're gonna get out with this song so we can stay on track. But we hope that you've been blessed by this session today. Go ahead and give us prayer, Doc.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll make this short. Loving Father, we're so grateful once again. We're thankful for the opportunity to have shared and gleaned these nuggets of information, and hopefully it has been able to help our listeners and those in relationships, those in marriages, to look at communication, look at the red flags, look at the mindsets, and look at the ways that we can make and build our relationships both with you and with our partners as we seek to go down the aisle, or we have already been married for several years. May these things help to build our communities, and may they help strengthen marriages and strengthen relationships around the world and in our communities. We thank you. We praise you. We lift up uh, our God's mailbox of all those that are writing down their prayer requests. You can burn them. You can shred them. You can mail them in to No More Dirty. Whatever you choose to do, know that God is listening. Know that He has your best interest at heart, and know that He loves you and we love you. And so may you be blessed. May you understand that God is nearer than He's ever been to support you in your endeavors. And know that He is also there to forgive us of our sins and shortcomings and cleanse us from our unrighteousness. We thank you, we praise you, and we know that you will be blessed by this time together. We thank you, we love you, for we ask this prayer in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen and amen again.
Amen, amen. Again, we want to say thank you. We want to take you out with an amazing song by No Big Deal. Don't worry about your enemies. God's got your back. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to tune in to the radio show, Scissorhands Show, tonight at 9. And also, we the No More Dirty Radio Show on We Up G93 and on Mondays on envision-radio.com. We'll see you next week. Blessings.
Yeah, looking at my pedigree, I set them up. I was scared of peace, I would never trust. Now I got the recipe for a better us. I'ma let it be, I'ma spread the love. Now I got no enemies, I got no enemies. Now I got no enemies, I ain't got no enemies. I ain't got no enemies. I'm a simple man. I think that we could change the world. I got a simple plan. Only props and no shots. I'm a gentleman. Homie, stop. All your ops live on Instagram. You ain't gotta pretend you got haters to make it. Yes, you do got exes, but they ain't little Satans. You don't have to go and hide your faith to be famous. Honesty and rap, I've been impatiently waiting. Look, I killed all my enemies so friends could come alive, and then I placed them in the tribe. I got a graveyard by my side, friend. I don't got the banger, got a saber in the ride. Cause even though I got the light, I look like Vader all my life. Used to fantasize while playing shady in the ride. Now I might get the cover of Fader if I try. I just blocked the next, I got my baby on my side. Playing shows and giving life while you promoting homicide. Yeah, looking at my pedigree, I set them up. I was scared of peace, I would never trust. Now I got the recipe for a better us. I'ma let it be, I'ma spread the love. Now I got no enemies, I got no enemies. Now I got no enemies, I ain't got no enemies, I ain't got no enemies. I see him tweeting out. Last week he got suspicious on me. Bad things that they wishing on me. I got enemies, got a lot of enemies. Bad girls, they descended on me. I'm like, please, can we stop the madness? Too much Twitter traffic. I don't ride away. I live in Atlantis. I got one advantage. I know who my man is. I just get the change, give it to my family. Listen, this important, this is do or die. Love your fellow man and give them more life. I know you just vibing out to tour life, but I can't lose another one to suicide. Going tribal when we ride. Going tribal. See revival in our eyes. Just remember, I get Zion when I die. Yeah, going simple, that's a lion with his pride. Yeah, looking at my pedigree, I set them up. I was scared of peace, I would never trust. Now I got the recipe for a better us. I'ma let it be, I'ma spread the love. Now I got no enemies, I got no enemies. Now I got no enemies, I ain't got no enemies, I ain't got no enemies.
The blood of Christ made us clean.
The No More Dirty TV show, hosted by Minister Fred 2, airing the cleanest and dopest music videos in the industry every Wednesday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the No More Dirty Inc. YouTube channel. We got clean, positive Christian hip-hop and urban music for your viewing and listening pleasure. We also have music video exclusives, interviews, ciphers, life lessons, and more. Make sure to follow us at Minister Fred 2, at No More Dirty Inc., and at No More Dirty Radio Show. For more information, email us at info@nomoredirty.org or call 256-698-9749. The No More Dirty TV show. Connect with us and tune in.